Stay here. So my name is Mike Leibovitz. I work as the Director of Mobility and Applications for Extreme Networks. You know, last time I started with a bunch of jokes, none of them worked out. This time I'll stay away from the jokes. A couple of my good friends and colleagues that are here, a couple fellows that joined me from Toronto, Canada. Dionis Hristov, our Senior Wi-Fi Architect, and Paulo Francisco, our Technical Product Manager for IdentiFi Wireless. Some of us would say, why are all these guys from Toronto? We are starting a hockey team here. We have the starting lineup if anyone else has skates. No? Come on, you got skates today. Here. Yeah. All right, no skates. In addition, we have another international sensation, Marcus Nispel, who, for anyone that was watching Network Field Day, Marcus was a presenter. Marcus is, I don't know any positions from the German soccer team, football team. So I'll steer clear of that. In fact, Marcus just educated me today that the 7 that we're using is incorrect. So both US and Canada uses the same 7. So he corrected that you have to use the dash and said that, hey, in Canada, we understand the metric system, but we still didn't learn how to write 7 correctly. In addition, so Marcus is the Vice President of our Solutions Innovations team. He's going to be talking about software-defined networking shortly, and one of his great resources as well, Manny Gutierrez, who will hopefully get to do a demo. We'll see how we're doing for timing. So I'm going to run through a couple slides here. I know that there's some new delegates. There's, you know, a new Extreme Networks. Last time that we were here, we were like days and seconds and minutes before showing our new logo and showing the new product. And today we're going to do some demos for you. We do have our new logo front and center, our new IdentiFi Wireless product and presentation format, if you will. So I'm going to step through a couple slides here, and then I'm going to hand over to Marcus and help co-pilot a demonstration for you. So, you know, IdentiFi Wireless, we've been shipping IdentiFi for, you know, commercially for over 10 years. It's over a decade. We believe that we've proven a number of things in terms of scalability, and our experience in terms of that decade-long track record of delivering into many different organizations and successfully delivering is really something that we're proud about. It's really the heritage of, you know, IdentiFi for many years that we like to talk about, and we feel proud about what it is we do. And certainly my colleagues over in Toronto, that is our center of excellence. Stu over here will say, well, Toronto is the center of the universe, which he's pretty much right about. For those that are from Canada would understand the joke, and for those that aren't, don't worry. I'll keep moving on. We are a pioneer, without any question, of wireless LAN and unified wired wireless architectures. We've been delivering unified wired and wireless architectures for a number of years, really dating back to 2007, 2008. And we'll talk about really some of our inspiration from an SDN perspective and things that we're thinking about in terms of managing networks, both wired and wireless. And obviously, every wireless network hits a wired infrastructure, and these things don't operate without each other very well. Another point, you know, it just from a high level, we believe that we deliver Wi-Fi that's simple, fast, and smart, and we use that kind of marketing phrase all over the place to really describe this. And this experience economy is something that we've been marketing and talking about for the last 6 months, really around interop. And we believe the experience economy is very much the world that we live in, the expectations that we have. I'd share, actually, I took a screenshot last night from the hotel, the guest access. I showed it to Dionis this morning and said, you know, look at the terms and condition. At the very bottom, it basically was a kiss-off message saying, if you don't like anything about this, you know, your duty is to leave the Wi-Fi network. And I was like, wow, that's a pretty big slap in the face. You're delivering a service, and clearly if it's not delivered appropriately, I'm not very enthusiastic. But the experience economy is very much the world we live in. It's why we build networks in the first place. I know I've had the Twitter conversation with a few people, including Keith, around, you know, designing networks from the outside, from the user perspective, all the way back in. And I think in many ways that there's a lot of truths around designing networks around the experiences that you're trying to deliver, the applications that you're trying to deliver, and working your way in over the RF and through the infrastructure and back down. But on top of these experiences that we're all expecting, it's the world that we live in that's growing and compounding in a very big way. We talk about the Internet of Things, and, you know, different people have different opinions on what things will be. Blake down there certainly has a thing on his face, and I think it's pretty cool. Some people think about things like watches and you know, shoes even. I saw one tech company that's come up with shoes that will provide directivity, so it will actually buzz and tell you when to make a right-hand turn or a left-hand turn, integrated with Google Maps, which is pretty neat. But this mobile world that's expanding and the expectations that are expanding, eventually something's got to give, right? It's a huge amount of devices that are coming up everywhere in every type of organization, whether it's education, healthcare, everywhere we work, obviously stadiums where we work as well. And at the same time, the expectations are growing. And we believe at Extreme Networks that this challenge in the world is really around scalability. And we believe that we've delivered, unlike any of our competitors, unmatched scalability really in the largest and most difficult venues that are out there. And so last time we were here, we talked a little bit about our experience in National Football League stadiums. We actually recently announced another addition, the Tennessee Titans, another customer of ours in the National Football League. There'll be some additional and very exciting things coming from our sports and entertainment business unit over the next couple of months. But at the end of the day, we look at what we've delivered in the stadiums and say it's very much representative of the world everywhere else. It is the enterprise everywhere else, right? You think about one AP at a time and connecting a couple hundred devices and providing video, providing all sorts of applications and requiring a system. Right? It's more than, and people ask me all the time, how does it work over the RF? Last time at WFD6, Diona spent a lot of time talking about what we do over the air to make this thing work. But clearly from the AP back inside the infrastructure, there's a lot of things that have to happen. It's a system that makes it work. And so we believe that the robust connectivity that we deliver with fewer access points, and I won't name names, but certainly some of our competitors that have walked into similar sized buildings are going in with 2 to 5 times the amount of access points to supply connectivity for the same amount of people. And that's pretty staggering, right? That's a big difference. And so the key thing that I'm not saying 50% fewer access points with IdentiFi. I'm saying the opposite. A properly designed wireless LAN with IdentiFi Wireless will carry our customers further into the future, more devices, more users, more applications, more bandwidth than our competition. And we believe that we've proven this and we've delivered on that promise. This particular slide is really something actually our sales team uses to insert their own customers regionally. But the scalability that we've proven in other venues and other environments, very large healthcare environments around the world, very large higher education, K-12 environments, and even some very large manufacturing environments that rely on us as well. And so from a product portfolio, right, we say IdentiFi Wireless scales beyond the crowd. When we talk about scaling beyond the crowd, it's kind of has 2 meanings. One, we believe that we scale beyond our competitors, beyond the crowd that's out there offering wireless LAN products, and we scale beyond the crowd of the stadium. So we're not a one-trick pony. We're not just a company that came up with a solution for stadiums. We believe that what we've solved in the stadiums is relevant everywhere else that we go. And so it's a complete product line. We'll talk a little bit we'll get into maybe a little bit of AC a little bit later, but a complete product line in terms of 11N, indoor and outdoor 802.11ac products, both physical and virtualized wireless appliances that fit private and public cloud architectures in a very fitting manner. And so, again, proven in the real world. We've recently started shipping our high-end access points, our 3825 and our 3865. 3865s are going into all of the large venues that we're working with now. So this is, they're both 3x3x3, 802.11ac access points. They share a similar architecture, which is really nice because any of our customers that want to deploy indoor or outdoor, they really just pick the AP model. All of the things that we do on the inside of a building, we can do on the outside. So all of our policy-enabled infrastructure, guest, BYOD, all these things, it's like for like. And inside the box, there's some cool things that we do in terms of the architecture, dual-core CPU. We actually offload services, one that's really dedicated for traffic forwarding, the other for the rest of the services that the AP is running. We're pushing a huge amount of data, 75,000 packets per second, through the Ethernet port. It's something that we've spent a lot of time engineering that specifically to transition from 802.11 to 802.3 and make sure that that works in both directions very efficiently.
Hey, Mike.
Yeah, please.
Quick interruption.
Yeah.
Where does Extreme come down on the simple statement of one-to-one deployments for K through 12?
Keeps keeping his head down. we have a slide actually a little bit later with an abstract picture. At the end of the day, we have some customers that have chosen that model. We believe that properly designed networks require planning, right? Success doesn't happen by luck. So I don't believe that any of our sales teams are necessarily pushing going out just promoting 1 AP per classroom. I started making the joke really 1 AP per student is a little bit more appropriate these days, but from an RF perspective, that gets really tricky. But again, I think that properly designed wireless doesn't necessarily require 1 AP per classroom, but you'll see it. I mean, obviously materials and all the rest of it, but we don't necessarily push it that way. And we have this nice young man who's enjoying the RF and how simple it is. And again, from a simple, fast, and smart perspective, you know, some things that we think about in terms of making it easier for our customers to install, to deploy, to get these things up and running, to intuitively manage. And we'll show you some of our demonstrations to quickly deliver new services and applications with a single click, pushing out policy. Again, both wired and wireless, very important for our customers. From a fast perspective, you know, all the key ingredients, most of it really circles back to how quickly you can get new services, new applications without having to tear down your infrastructure. And I think when we talk about SDN in a little bit, you'll see where our mind's at and why we built our architecture a certain way and how we'll keep pushing our architecture down that path in the future. Obviously, all the fast roaming and mobility and being able to rapidly troubleshoot. And I think that we'll highlight that really well in just a few minutes. And then in terms of in terms of smart, the intelligence, you know, a couple things in terms of our architectural approach, why we're going to say it's SDN inspired, what we're going to do with it, some very smart things. But on top of it, the analytics that we can pull out and just with a couple clicks of a button, get a really good idea of what your users are doing, what applications are using, what the performance is like. In the world that we call the experience economy, the question always comes back, well, how can you measure? Right? Because if you go and if I ask everyone in the room right now, how's the Wi-Fi, I'm going to get hopefully all positive responses, but everybody has an opinion, right? You can't rely on opinions. And, you know, a CIO that I spoke to at a very large university said to me, my biggest fear is the president of the school walking across campus asking students how the Wi-Fi is, and one of them saying it's no good, right? And as the CIO, that's his responsibility. He says, I have no visibility. I can't tell application performance, response time. These are things that are important to me. So being able to have a smart, intelligent network is key. And so our experience matters. We believe that the experience of the users, the experience of the IT administrators, and the experience of the executives, people, the decision makers that are investing in us is key and important. And, you know, from our perspective, we believe that we have the most complete networking portfolio that's available on the market today. This is our core competency, right? This is what we do every single day. We build networks from the data center up to the edge, high performance. You know, we have 100 gig offerings down in the data center, 11 AC up at the access edge, very high performing hardware, but it's all for naught without a complete software portfolio. And it's the software that really unlocks the value of all this great hardware that we spend our time building. So everything from SDN, analytics, onboarding and provisioning, all of these things give us a very pervasive and complete portfolio to offer to the market and to our customers. And finally, our award-winning services. You know, customers choose us because of our services. We're 100% in-sourced, right? Our customers will say time and time again, they will vouch, not just for how great, you know, the repair or the process is dealing with us, but how quickly it all occurs. And obviously, when you're calling a company, you know, we don't have level 1 support. You're calling a level 2 engineer, 94% first call resolution, which is pretty outstanding, right? And so this is a big piece for us. This is why customers stay with us in the long run, not just the technology, but the relationship that they build with us.